Roadhouse Last Call, your morning show that tells you about the morning and maybe some stuff that happened last night and maybe, just maybe, some stuff that'll happen during the day.
What about the whatnots?
Will always be such and whatnots, but you're
Oh,
right.
okay. Okay.
I was wrong in not discussing the such as in the whatnots.
Yes.
It will be such as and whatnots. Linda, how was your evening?
It was all right. It was all right. I think there has been a major shift in global weather patterns. Texas got rain last night, so I don't know what that means, but it seems like I should start building an ark or something. Like we haven't seen rain in a while.
Really? Has it been that dry?
It's
I
been
have no idea.
pretty damn dry. Yeah.
It seems like it rains freaking every other day here for like 15 minutes, and then we get something else.
Yeah, I mean it's been no rain and 105 every day for like the last couple weeks.
Wow. I know my family's like, it's like in family text chain, it's like they're hemming and hawing. It's so hot. It's so hot. And yeah,
It's been brutally hot. Yeah. It's been nasty.
yeah. My sister was contemplating buying a bunch of ice to throw it in her pool so she could actually enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not even refreshing right now. You're out working, sweating in the heat, and you go to jump in the pool, and it's like bath water that's been sitting in the, it's like, doesn't even, you're like, ew, this is kind of gross.
This is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So Bender has stated that apparently global weather patterns are shifting. I don't know.
Sarcasm.
I don't know where to file this exactly. But I think we should all be aware of this when Bender makes these type of
No, right. You put it in the same folder as like every other weatherman. Like
So in today's
it's like I looked outside and there was rain, and it hasn't rained in a while, so weather is shifting.
shifting,
Yeah.
shifting, global wetness is upon us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bender,
What's up?
it almost feels like we're always back to where we started. Always just kind of feels that way. But let's get into some of these headlines before we jump into what you're going to tell us. So markets are rallying here a little bit. The pop can be noticed directly on the chart when China said that they were going to start loosening their COVID restrictions. We saw a lot of the casinos with Macau exposure get a pop. A lot of the Chinese tickers got a pop also. Also getting some activity within the financial sector. Banks announced their buybacks and dividends and all that kind of stuff after the stress test. Banks appear to be in a fairly good position based off of that stress test and the fact that they want to give more monies out to their peoples. So there is that. We did get a little bit of bank flow. For me, Goldman Sachs is going to be on close watch this morning, especially down around these levels. This 300-ish level is one that, you can easily get a move up to 320 in a blink of an eye. So Goldman's going to be on close watch for me. From a data standpoint, we get consumer confidence coming out 30 minutes after open. That's always going to be something to keep an eye on based on the environment that we're in. So 30 minutes after open, let's watch for that print. Again, I don't know how it gets better, but it's like we have been a little bit shocked by some of the housing numbers that have come out that show, relative strength to what's going on. So we'll keep an eye on that. Tomorrow we get GDP. We also get consumer spending, PCE, and Powell is set to take the mic again for another speech. So whenever Powell hits the mic and we have data at the same time, we have to be aware of that, whether or not we get some type of a risk off or whatever we get. The flow is going to kind of tell us what's going on, or if absolutely nothing is going on like yesterday. Yesterday's flow was a little bit chop-ish. There were some pockets that were okay, but nothing that could get you a definitive line. And we could see that overnight with futures dipping and then getting that pop off of the China headline as far as them loosening restrictions. Other interesting news, Nike put in a beat and then sold off after having flattish guidance, effectively citing China. That was a little bit interesting. China makes up a big piece of their market, and the shutdowns are definitely impacting them. However, they did see an unexpected boost in Europe where people continue to buy stuff, especially higher end stuff is not necessarily being impacted the way I think a lot of economists were initially looking and seeing for them to happen. So Nike put up strong numbers, and I say strong relative to the environment. They held their own, which is something that is important. On the heels of that, we had nearly every fund on the planet coming in, maintaining a buy rating on Nike. However, as the trend is, they're coming back and lowering their price targets across the board. So there's still, solid upside there for Nike, even with the lowering of these price targets. Again, we'll sit there and watch and see how the market wants to treat Nike, but the numbers were fairly good, relatively speaking. It was not a blowout ER by any means, but they held their own in the environment. And I keep on saying that holding your own in this environment is a really, really big deal. One item that, as far as their report that I found really interesting, the company said its inventories rose 23%. And they're citing that's because a lot of these products are remaining in transit still due to supply chain disruptions. I don't know what it's going to take to get the supply chain straightened out. This seems a little bit, absurd that we're still talking about this 2 years after COVID, but here we are. Still talking about supply chain issues. Got to get fixed. I don't know who fixes it. I don't know what that is, but it's got to be fixed. The only other item that I have here that is somewhat important, Berkshire bought more Oxy. We saw a hellified Oxy flow yesterday. We saw a good flow into energy in general yesterday. So that flow and sector is going to be on watch once again. Bender, please tell me you have something awesome regarding these levels. Please tell me that you're going to be like, you know what? This is exactly where you buy. This is exactly where you sell. This is exactly where you make $8.7 trillion.
You buy if we get over 39.50, come back, test, and hold. And then you look to take profit closer to 4,000. How's that?
Wow. You're on the uppity stretch, aren't you?
Well, no, that's just one direction. Right? I don't know which direction it's going to go. I'm just telling you there's one option. There's one direction. We're still just under the midpoint of the Bollinger Bands on the daily on the ES. We need to get kind of above 39.60s to get above that. We have, before that, we got 39.50 previous resistance, and 39.26 is the 20 MA on the daily. So what we want to see in the short term, if you're playing upside, you want to see it get above that 20 MA, that 39.26, above 39.50, that previous resistance, which opens the door to get above the 39.50 previous resistance, get above the midpoint of the Bollinger Bands into the 39.60s, and I think that opens the door to 39.80s and then 4,000. Right now we've got the 10, the 20, and the 50 on the 60-minute are all smashed together. They're all within about 10 points. So the 50 comes in at 39.04 right now. You got the 20 at 39.11 and the 10 at 39.16. So, any sort of pullback you want to see, really, we need to see 3,900 hold, but, right around 39.05. The 50 MA, and that's what I talked about yesterday, is the 50 holding on any sort of pullback, and it did hold overnight. So even though we broke below the 10 and the 20, we did have the 50 hold. Right now you've got the 10 above the 20, so your faster moving has crossed up in the slower moving. So to continue that momentum, we just want to see that 50 hold.
Okay.
Let's see.
So
I got more for you. So 3,900, if we find ourselves below that, then we look at our previous line, the 3880. And the last thing I'll note is that longer term channel, parallel channel that I've been showing on the, like on the weekly chart, we are holding above the lower trend line support of that channel. So we want to see that kind of continue to hold. And right now, that would come in like around 3880.
Around 3880, okay. Which, the bottom of that, we played with that multiple times yesterday, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were, we were right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For a while.
And that was the top or bottom of the gap, depending on how you want to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
that we filled. And I think Freeman and Jay were chatting about that after hours yesterday, as far as it being a fairly good sign.
Mm-hmm.
That we kept on testing both sides of that gap, which was ultimately, you can look at that as being very positive as far as it maintaining that, and then we're coming into the day the way we are. Interesting, very, very interesting. What else you got?
Well, isn't that enough?
It was plenty. But just like anything else in life, Ender,
You just want more, don't you? You're like, yeah.
Everybody wants more. That is, it's just in our DNA. It's like, you give us great stuff. We're like, well, what else can he possibly give us? Like, can we have some more? May I have another?
May I have another, sir?
All right. All right there, Stockington. What you got, buddy?
Hello.
Bender didn't tell us how to make $8.7 trillion, so all the pressure is on you now, buddy. It's like it's all on you. So come on with it.
Yeah, I'm always making $8 trillion, so this should be easy by now. Man, and you guys over there complaining your pools are too hot. Talk about first world problems. I'm just like, I hope I can go outside and it's not 100 million degrees outside. But that's what I get for living here. So let's see. The list is kind of got a dark pool focus here going today. Microsoft, they were hitting Microsoft at this line I gave out, 264.89 last night. They were hitting it right there. There's about 837 million sitting on that line. They also were hitting Apple. So Apple's kind of stuck between two dark pools right now, between 142.56 and 141.66. And then let's see, Meta. I don't know what it is with Meta on this 170.9 line, but that was a really strong wall all day yesterday. Pre-market, it's still a big wall, and we had the 170.16. It's 3 point something billion in dark pool on Meta. So I'm just going to continue to watch that one. And then I had Crowd on the list for today as well. That was an inside bar. So if it pops in either direction, we could see some nice momentum. I was going to take Crowd long over 184 and short if it breaks 182.3. That's pretty aggressive trigger. So I'd also, kind of keep an eye on 181.1 and 180.50 was another line I had. But that's what I got just for tickers. And then, SPY, this 389.95, that kind of upper 389. There's a ton of dark pool in there. And then 388.53 got a couple taps on SPY last night as well, as in terms of dark pool. So that's kind of what I'll be watching along with Flow.
Very nice. So I'm in Meta right now, but what do you think I need to be looking at and looking for?
I mean, I really want to see that 170.9 break. I don't know what, but that line is just like, it was really, we tested it 3 times and couldn't pop it yesterday, and now we're gonna open right around that dark pool, the 170.16. So yeah, I want to see that 170.9 just get smashed through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. So guess we'll see what happens. The last thing I want to leave us with here is like we have seen the VIX melt without really over the last couple of sessions without any type of a real strong move to the upside. We've kind of traded sideways during this VIX melt. We're approaching levels at 1380. We hung around that substantially yesterday before it finally gave way, and we still weren't able to get a big move to the upside yesterday in any capacity. Today is like we have to look at how it reacts around that 1380. If we get an upside move, whether it rejects that 1380 on the other side, 1350 also. It's like, again, these levels that were cracking without any type of a real move upside is of a little bit of concern, especially when I'm looking at the flow. Bear was repositioning all day yesterday with some pretty legitimate money. We also saw the whale roll their puts down. I think it was from 370 something to like 360 something along those lines. But it went down. So usually when that happens, we get a move that is not friendly for bull. But at the same time, as I'm saying that whale has not turned the same profits that it was used to turning, let's say, a month ago. But this area that we're in, we're trading in this 1380, 1350, 1330. We're getting into a very dangerous zone to where we're either going to get a massive crackdown on the VIX and UVXY, or we're going to go ahead and give back. But we still have that other gap. We have those levels that Bender is looking at. And while these things don't have to run in unison, it's still something that we have to be aware of, because it's like, look, so Stockton just pointed the chart using Mr. Freeman's lines. It's like, look what's going on. You're getting this falling wedge, this price compression all the way down in through here. It's like, are we selling the VIX because there's nothing to fear? Are we selling the VIX because, we don't need insurance? It's like, what are we doing exactly as far as having this phenomena take place without getting a higher move, a strong and established higher move? We're also not seeing big flow coming through to the call side. We're getting some shots taken to the upside. We're getting some spec flow to the upside, but we're not getting Donkey Kong money coming in being like, yeah, we're headed back to 420 on SPY. We're not getting that. Maybe today is the day that we do. Maybe tomorrow is the day we do. But we have not seen that to date. And knowing that the majority of money continues to position short, and we did see a decent amount of call selling yesterday, it puts us in a very precarious position as far as if this thing decides to take off and make that move back up to the upside. This little chart that Stockton posted, that's going to hurt. That's going to leave a dent. So when we're managing our positions and managing our portfolio, we have to keep that in mind. It's like, at what point do you start buying insurance back? Right now, they're not. They're not buying insurance back. When does that happen? And when does insurance become not insurance with something that's actually directionable and playable? It's like, these are the questions that go through my mind constantly as I'm watching flow, as I'm watching some of these lines. The dollar's move this morning to the upside, very, very strong. Got to keep an eye on the dollar also, because I think more and more we're hearing on these conference calls. Nike cited it. We had a couple other companies cited it on ERs last week and week before. This constant stress that the dollar is putting on them, especially companies that have global exposure. It is a pressure. And I'm silent right now because I don't even know what else to say about it other than we have to be aware and understand that things are not necessarily what they appear to be. And we have to be ready to be nimble. And I think Bender's lines that he offered this morning, combined with what Stockton put up, should give us a pretty good plan for the day. Now, with that being said, does anybody have anything that they would like to offer? I know Sun's posted a couple of things. No? All right. Bender, you got anything else for the peoples?
No, I don't think so. I think actually I do. I'll say one thing. I've talked to a few people, over the course of the last couple of weeks that, have more recently started trading futures, and these levels, if you are one that is struggling or just starting or whatever, the levels that I give, when Hell's sarcastically asks how to make $8.3 trillion or whatever, I think the biggest challenge, the biggest mistake that I see is not getting those entries precise, right? If I give a level that should act as support, or a level that should act as resistance, and if you're playing for that breakthrough resistance, the pullback to test it, I know this is something that we say a lot, but buy red candles if you're going long. Buy or sell green candles if you're going short, and you got to do it at those levels. If you're doing market orders and you see that green candle and you're like, okay, it's holding as support, I'm going to buy the green candle. It can pull back 3 or 4 points in the same candle in a minute, and now all of a sudden you're down and you're getting stopped out, when you shouldn't be. If that's you, work on only filling limit orders for the entry. You can mark it out if you need to, but it's better just set a stop and push that stop up and let your stop take you out. But I think it's really important to, and I just share this for anybody that, might be newer to trading futures or whatever, but being precise on the entries is important. If you're looking at a level of, let's say it's 39.05 and you're like, I like 39.05. If it gets there, I think I can buy 39.05 with a stop at 38.99 or 38.99.75 or whatever it is. If you're looking at that and planning to trade that, and you see that green candle to hold as support at 39.05 and you mark it in, you might end up with an entry that's like 39.08, right? And now instead of being a stop that's only 5 points below, now you're looking at 8. So it quickly compounds into, crap, now I'm red, more red than I can take right now, and now I can't, now I can't have that 38.99 stop like I wanted to have. Now my stop needs to be, 39.03, and you get stopped out, it holds 3,900 and goes right back up, right? That's how you like death by 1,000 paper cuts. So if you're struggling with that, be patient and use limit orders for entries, and try to walk that line, right? Like thread the needle, so to speak, instead of just clobbering it with a hammer. Like, oh, yep, that worked, I'm gonna hit it, mark it in. No, that doesn't work. You're gonna get your ass kicked if you keep doing that.
Thank you for that, Bender. I think that's really, really applicable to a lot of other things other than just futures. But yeah, it's like it's amazing how all these lessons they're all the same, right?
Right. Different ways to word them, because I mean, hell, you can tell me the same thing 10 times, but if it's not told, there's one way that it gets said, and then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, well, dummy, you've heard it 10 times, but you just try word it a little different.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yep.
All right, guys, we've got about 15 minutes. Let's get all comfortable and whatnots and see what such and whatnots they give us to play with today. Thank you again for listening. Stockington, thank you. Bender, thank you once again. We'll see you guys soon.